Yellowstone is giving every Dutton a spin-off except the one who deserves it most. With the flagship Yellowstone series finished, it doesn't come as much of a surprise that the Taylor Sheridan narrative is set to continue beyond the original 5 seasons. After all, the neo-Western series likely would have lasted another season or two had Kevin Costner not departed from the show ahead of Season 5 Part 2. Either way, as Kayce, Luke Grimes, has already moved into his own next chapter with Marshals and Beth, Reilly, heads toward her upcoming continuation with Rip, I'm still convinced there's one Dutton who deserves a spin-off of his own. No, it's not Jamie, Wes Bentley, nor is it their other fallen brother Lee, Dave Annable. Instead, the younger version of their father, John Dutton, played to perfection by Josh Lucas. If any Yellowstone character needs a spin-off, it's Josh Lucas John Dutton. Now that Kayce has already gotten his own spin-off in Marshals, it's even clearer that Lucas John Dutton is the character who most deserves the next Yellowstone expansion. While Costner played an aged John Dutton in the final years leading to his assassination, Lucas played the younger version, still raising his children to try to take over his growing cattle empire. Having appeared in merely 9 episodes of the entire 53-episode series, Lucas' interpretation was to Costner's what Robert De Niro's Vito Corleone was to Marlon Brando's in the Godfather trilogy. He is John Dutton in his absolute prime, and we see him at a time when there was still potential for his family, long before Beth and Jamie fell out, before Kayce wandered in his own direction, and before Lee was unceremoniously murdered. In fact, this John existed alongside his wife Evelyn, Gretchen Mole, before her own fateful end. To say that the adventures of a younger John Dutton have a wealth of untapped potential would probably be an understatement. There's a lot about John Dutton that we still don't know or fully understand, and a prequel series about his life, even if it were a mini-series event that took us through it in stages, would offer some additional insight into the man that Costner played in those final years. Why did John really take Jamie in as a child? Why was he so hard on Kayce in particular? How did he deal with the loss of his wife? And how did that change him long-term? We can try to answer all of these questions based on what we see in Yellowstone, but they may be better explored in a series that intends to lean a bit further into the ranching life of John in his younger days. Yellowstone Season 5 dropped the ball with the John Dutton flashbacks. Going into Season 5, we were promised that the young John Dutton flashbacks would be a major part of the final season, and indeed they were, at first. Season 5 Part 1 featured Lucas in earnest, further developing and examining John Dutton in both the past and present. The problem was, when Costner exited the show, John Dutton did too, and that meant that Lucas' final flashback sequence didn't feel so, well, definite. For years, Lucas had rumored that Sheridan wanted to do entire flashback episodes, perhaps even a whole flashback season, but that never came to be. With Yellowstone finished in its current form, Sheridan missed an opportunity to further explore Lucas' younger John as the patriarch's children grieve him in the present. This would have allowed the character to still be present in the final few episodes, even as Costner's version is written out. I'm also disappointed that Season 5B only got 6 episodes compared to Season 5A's 8. An entire episode could have been devoted to rounding out the flashbacks first established in the first half of the season, and if executed correctly, it may have been the best way to send John Dutton off. Instead, we were left with the fallout. While it was good to see Kayce, Beth, and Rip Kohlhauser all explore their own methods of grief during this time, especially since John's departure allowed them to really carry the series, it still felt odd that the last few episodes didn't feature the Dutton patriarch in any capacity. This is where Lucas' younger version may have softened the blow. Of course, with the Yellowstone universe still growing, the decision not to build something around Lucas John Dutton feels like an even bigger missed opportunity. Shows like 1883 or 1923 prove that a direct Yellowstone prequel would work. In the same vein as 1883, Sheridan could develop a limited series that centers on John as he struggles with the loss of his wife, the branding of the ranch, and raising his children to take over in the years leading up to the flagship series. This would be the perfect opportunity for us to flesh out John Dutton in his entirety, apart from Costner's iteration, and maybe even further connect this version of the character to his ancestors, as seen in 1923. A spin-off like this could also explore some of the adolescent dynamics between Beth and Rip, Kayce and his father, and the tragedy of Lee and Jamie, who each craved approval from John. Not to mention possibly getting a clearer picture of what John and Evelyn's marriage was really like, helping viewers better understand why the Dutton family turned out the way it did. There's certainly a lot that could still be developed and explored in a prequel like this, And while it's not necessary, a Josh Lucas-led John Dutton series would shed meaningful new light on one of Yellowstone's most important characters.